The Omega Beam. Full power.
Welcome to the Omega Beam number 194. I'm your host, Orrin Merton. Happy New Year, and thank you for listening to our first episode of 2023. So the Addams Family originally debuted as a cartoon in the New Yorker magazine in 1938. But like many people, my first introduction was reruns of the 1964 black and white TV show, The Addams Family. It was a crazy, morbid, fun sitcom with Morticia and Gomez as the family matriarch and patriarch. You had Thing, their severed hand, Lurch, their gigantic butler, and of course they had two young children, Wednesday and Pugsley. So I saw the 90s movies and the animated movies, and as a fan, I was excited when I read that Tim Burton was going to be co-creating a Netflix series about an aged-up teenage Wednesday. So we finished season 1 in its entirety, and that means it's time for our conversation. Now, season 1 revolves around murders in Nevermore, the school for misfits that Wednesday attends. So because it's a mystery, we keep it pretty light on spoilers so as we don't give it away. We do go into light spoilers in the latter part of our conversation, but we give you ample warning before we do. So here we go. I am here with Golden to talk about Wednesday, not the day of the week, but the Netflix series based on the character of Wednesday Addams, the daughter in the Addams family. So this is a series I was very much looking forward to because I've been a fan of the Addams family since I was a kid and saw reruns of the 1960s black and white TV series.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I know that. I'm sure that a lot of our generation, that's how they're familiar with the Addams family.
Yeah, and then the movies in the 90s were very funny and very good. And they always focused on the adults mostly. I mean, the kids were there and they were part of the family.
The animated ones, I think, dealt more with the kids.
Yeah, the animated ones dealt more with the kids.
You enjoyed the animated ones a little bit more.
The animated ones dealt with the kids, and they were kids. And this was a reimagining of Wednesday as an older teen going to Hogwarts. I'm sorry, Neverland, and about how that all went. So
it's Nevermore.
Nevermore. That's right, not Neverland. Nevermore.
Edgar Allan.
It's an Edgar Allan Poe reference to the Raven, yeah. And in fact, the Raven is the name of the dance that they have in one of the episodes about halfway through the season. So...
And everything is woe.
Everything is woe. So what did you think of the show as a whole?
As a whole, I very much enjoyed it. I know that you had a little bit of difficulty at the beginning kind of making a connection with the character. You seem to really like the other character, her.
Yep.
I think overall, it really played into the feel of what the Addams family is. And I very much enjoyed that. The character of Wednesday.
I definitely came around to really, really loving the series and to loving the character of Wednesday. But the reason I had trouble initially is because in the show and in the early shows and in the movies, Wednesday's kind of morbidness was really wonderful for comic relief and for sort of one note kind of situational comedy. But the idea of a girl who never says anything other than morbid quips worked well when she was on screen for moments. And the show was really about the rest of the family. But when it became just about her, it became pretty one note at first, to me. Doesn't need to be for everybody. And I say this as a card-carrying goth who used to run around in, Wednesday's wardrobe. But it was still very, very one note. And
I've never seen the picture of you in a black dress.
more pants, but you know how it goes. But one of the things that the season does well is even though the Addams family are sort of one note in their comedic portrayals, it gave them an arc. And as the shows went on, I did think they gave her a real emotional arc. And I got sucked into it. Not to mention the fact that I absolutely loved her dance in the middle of the series of the Raven dance. It was very goth. I remember dances similar to that in goth clubs I would go to. And in fact, Jenny Ortega has said in interviews that one of her inspirations for choreographing that was Susie Sue, a goth icon. And it just, I think I fell in love with her at that point.
No, I really enjoyed the characters, the writing, and the music, and the overall ambiance of the show.
Yeah, I think the mystery was also really good. I think that one of the signs of a good show is even if you know something is coming, that you still love it when you get it. When you get what you thought you were getting, but it's just done so well, you don't get kind of snobby about it. You're just like, yeah, this was earned. This is great.
And then, like every other show that's on this year in the fantasy genre, you're supposed to just either blame or give accolades to Neil Gaiman, even though he has nothing to do with it.
Sure, I'll give Neil some credit. Why not?
And it was Tim Burton, James Marshall, and I'm guessing is how you say her name.
Okay.
Really did a great job directing it. They led you through this story very well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that there were just enough hints. And hey, it's okay if you guess the whodunit ahead of time.
Right.
And if you're surprised, then that's fine. Enjoy the characters, enjoy the story, enjoy the dance, enjoy the music.
Yeah, the music was fantastic. I love the music.
I love her communication with Thing.
Oh, yeah. Thing was done incredibly well and made it more than just about her, but it was a nice way to bring in the Addams family as a extended unit without bringing in mom and dad all the time.
I did enjoy the YouTube of Thing in New York City.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That was entertaining as well.
Yeah. It was incredibly well done all the way through. And the creators of the show should get some credit for diversifying a white European family in the sense that in the original comic and in the original shows, Gomez, the father, was very clearly a Spaniard. He was a white Spaniard. And yet they made the decision to make Gomez a Mexican. And Jenny Ortega was perfect. She was perfect for the role. And I'm glad that they were able to cast someone like her and not say, oh, no, it has to be a lily white, actress because it's an all-white family. And they were able to just take the best people for the job.
That, and she had some agency in terms, she felt one of the lines that they originally were asking her not what Wednesday say.
Right.
So she said, no, this isn't Wednesday.
Yeah, and Tim Burton also let her choreograph the dance. So absolutely.
That she really felt like she was in tune with the character, and I think that comes across.
Yeah. It was a real collaborative effort. And for those people who looked at Luis Guzman playing Gomez Addams and saying, oh, he doesn't, he's not, dashing or whatever. If you look at the original comics, Luis Guzman is a pretty dead ringer for Gomez Addams.
The only thing that I think was missing, we discussed this in the first couple episodes, is that with Angelica Houston and Raul Julia,
right,
there was a chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
And it just didn't seem like that chemistry was there. And this is a very this is a couple that's always just reeking of love and...
Right, they're all over each other at all times.
And it seemed forced between the two.
I think some of that may also have been, since the show was in Wednesday's eyes, maybe they wanted it to look a little bit more awkward because it may have been a little bit more awkward to Wednesday. Because we're not looking at it as ourselves. We're supposed to be looking at it through Wednesday's eyes. But that could also just be me trying to justify it. So, I haven't read any interviews to that effect.
If you enjoy the Addams Family of old, then I think that you will definitely enjoy Wednesday.
Absolutely. I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah, like I said, I don't think either of us want to give away the whodunit, so that's the main thing we'd be talking about in the spoiler section. So
there's like I don't know if
Yeah.
there's that much of spoilers, but hey, if there are, we're going to go into some light spoilers.
Right. So
now.
it's time for the light spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Light spoilers.
The relationship between adversaries.
Right.
I like how that rolled out and that developed, and what you thought was going to happen kind of split and went the other direction.
Right.
At times. It was nice to see that it wasn't always, okay, well, I'm the villainous type, so I'm going to remain the villainous type.
Yeah.
And that someone that she saw as an adversary, that could change.
Absolutely. And I thought that it was both great stunt casting, but also a really well acted part that they had Christina Ricci in there playing who you think is a mentor and a great teacher at the school, but obviously she has her own agenda.
Well, everyone has their own agenda.
Everyone has their own agenda. And there were things about the show that surprised me. I did not expect, I forgot the actress's name, the one who was in Game of Thrones.
Gwendolyn Christie?
I did not expect the Gwendolyn Christie character to not survive the show. I thought she was going to be a regular for as long as the show survives. And it has been renewed for season 2, for those who didn't already. And I think it's Netflix's most successful show, or at least most successful after Sandman.
And Stranger Things?
And Stranger Things. No, it's in the top 5 either way, even if it's not number 1 specifically. But yeah, I was surprised. I thought she'd be a regular that would keep going with the series. Of course, this is fantasy, so she could always come back anyway. But yeah, that surprised me. So there were some things that surprised me, even though there were other things that I did sort of see. As soon as her best friend and roomie Enid announced in the first episode, "Oh, I can't really wolf out," I was like, "Oh, she'll be wolfing out in the finale."
And by the finale,
right? And she did, but it was so
the way in which
well
she
done.
Did wolf out was very well done.
Yeah, it was so well done. It was like, "Oh, I saw this coming." Instead, it was just like it was like a fist in the air moment.
It was a fist in the air moment.
It was just done so well, and I think that is a wonderful testament to the writing, that they do give the audience what they want, but they give it in a fresh way that excites them, even if they know it's coming.
The first time I saw Avatar, you saw the giant skull, and I spent the rest of the movie waiting for him to decide he was going to ride that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where in this, I wasn't waiting for her to wolf out. It didn't have to happen. Mm-hmm. There was enough there that was interesting, and enough with the characters that even if she had never wolfed out,
right,
I would have been fine.
Yeah, I think that goes well into the other thing I wanted to bring up is that,
she stands up for herself.
She does.
She stands up for herself against her
mother,
mom,
yeah,
which was something that at the very beginning of the series she was not going to do.
Yeah. And I think that blends or leads really nicely into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is the pacing. I think the pacing of the series was incredibly good. It is about Wednesday, so you don't want to go too far off that. But I thought they stuck her family in at just the right moments to, number one, remind you that she's part of this family. But number two, in a way that it allowed her story, her mystery, her saga, her growth to unroll very naturally, while also giving you moments of her participation in the rest of the family.
You keep disliking her or that liking her. I think that was nice. I mean, roommate was not going to let her get away with things.
Right.
Just because she was salt.
Right. She has agency too. Yeah. She has her own opinions as well. So yeah, this was a great series. I am looking forward to season 2 very much. It'll be interesting to see how much Tim Burton is a part of it, because he wasn't actually one of the showrunners. He just was one of the creators, and then he directed a lot of, I think, the first half of the series. So it'll be interesting to see if this is done with him or without him, or if he's just kind of like an executive producer who's consulting on the side. I think Jenny Ortega and the family is great, and I can't wait to see their future adventures. And if you haven't seen this and you like a kind of horror mystery young adult type stuff, this is it. I mean, this is going to give you what you want. It's definitely worth catching.
You don't have to watch violence.
Ha ha ha. You do not have, there is no day of the week you have to watch it. Netflix is happy to stream it to you whenever you would like.
As many times as you
Right, as many times as you'd like. Well, thank you, Golden. And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/194. If you like this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Your reviews help people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.
The Omega Beam. The Omega Beam. Full stop.